All right, so here we are again today. It is Wednesday. I am at Guangzhou Nan, and behind me you can see people. Today I had to go to Macao for my visa, and that's a whole nother fucking story. But Guangzhou South is like a big hub that I had to come here from Shenzhen Bay to transfer to go to Macau. And I just want to give people, you know, an idea of what's going on here at the train station today. So if you look, it's, you know, it's not really that busy. There's people here and there, a lot of people sitting in the waiting area. So let's go walk around. Those are the gates. Now remember, I am not professional and I don't have all that technology and stuff, so all I can do is just do it at a style, you know, like my way. But if you've never been inside a train station in China, this is actually not busy. Now, you can see behind me there's a lot of people, right? Actually, not that many people, but for an average American train station, it would be a lot. Of course, there are the gates that you go to according to where you're going, like any other train station. And then here, I'll give you the front view. Here, so you can see. Once again, spicy duck neck and chicken feet. Gotta love it if you're Chinese. Love the duck neck and chicken feet. Woo woo. Then of course on top is some restaurants, but and they're open actually. They're open. There are not that many people here. Believe it or not. Not that many people. Usually there's a lot more people than this. So let's see if we can find a place to sit down so I can tell you about my journey at Macau, which was ridiculous. So here behind me, here in front of me, I think there's a place over here we could sit maybe. You know, when you lived here for 12 years, you kind of get used to it. It's pretty bad when this is slow, you know. When this many people are around and you call this slow, well, I guess I've been brainwashed into understanding what busy is from living in China. So let's see if we can find a chair. There's a cute girl doing her thing. See, there's McDonald's up there. Now those restaurants are actually takeout. They're not like sit down. So they're open only because they're doing counter service. So I got a nice quiet area here that I can sit down at. Okay, so let me tell you what I had to do today. What I had to do today was every 2 months I have to go through the customs, the border, either through Hong Kong or Macau. It's just a condition of my visa. It's a 10-year visa, but every 60 days I have to leave and come back. And normally I go to Hong Kong because it's on the border of Shenzhen, so it's really easy. But because Hong Kong has the 14-day quarantine implemented, I clearly can't do that. So I decided to go to Macau. And Macau is either like a 3-hour bus ride, or I can take the train. And what I have to do is go from Shenzhen North to Guangzhou Nan to Zhuhai, and Macau is on the other side of Zhuhai. And normally you just go through the customs at Zhuhai and then literally turn around and come back through the customs. It's really, really simple, much simpler than going through Hong Kong actually, other than taking trains and shit. So, but today, and what people have not said about Macau is that even though there's no quarantine, there is a medical check that could take up to 8 hours. Now, I didn't take pictures of this and I didn't take videos of this because I didn't want to be that guy, you know, that foreigner doing all this shit in a miserable fucking environment with people suffering, well, just, you know, unhappy about it. So in order to get, just to go into the customs on the China side, you have to fill out this paperwork, and or you use like the barcode to scan with the WeChat application, and just to give your like name, where you're staying, all this other shit. And you know, if you've had any contact with a COVID-19 person, and blah 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 blah. So then when you go through the customs, because you're a foreigner without a Chinese ID, they take your passport, they walk you to another side, they ask you some questions about where you've been, where you're going, write down contact information, blah 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 blah, make copies of all this shit. Now since I live in Shenzhen, I had to write down all this information about where I live, make copies of it. So then they put me back in line, they let me go through the China side. Then I have to go into the Macao side. It's the same fucking bullshit. Write down where you've been in China, where you're, have you had any contact with this person, that person, blah 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 blah. But when you go through the Macao side, now I'm an American, I don't need a visa, I just have my passport. But they tell you, hey, you're subject to a health inspection that could take up to 8 hours. I'm like, okay, whatever. I thought that was just a formality, right? So what happens is, after you pass through there, they line you up in 2 separate lines, and you have to wait and wait and wait. And there were these buses, and there are these doctors with hazmat suits on and goggles and shit. It's like, what the hell? They marching us into the gas chambers and shit. Now, I'm half Jewish, so if you don't like that, I don't care. I have a right to make that joke if I want to. So, but that's that's the analogy I felt. So when you get up there, what they do is they count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to so many people. They let that many people through, which happens to be the number of seats available on the next bus. They have these big plastic bags. They take your ID cards and your passports, and they stick them in a fucking plastic bag, and they put you on the fucking bus, and they drive you to a hospital where you have to do a fucking health examination. Now, I was not going into Macau, so I was like, what the fuck? I'm not going through all this bullshit. So I pulled one of the police guys over. I said, hey man, like, I just need to go through here for my customs stamp. I'm not going into Macau. He's like, okay. So he puts me in this little fenced off area, just me in this fenced off fucking area. And like, all these people are lined up, and I look like I was some kind of special guy, right? So I'm sitting there, and it's starting to make me feel uncomfortable. But for like 15, 20 minutes, finally a police guy comes over, and he gets me and he walks me back through, and they were really nice about it. You know, when I explained to him, he's like, yeah, you don't need to worry about this if you're just coming through here for your stamp. So he walked me back through, so I didn't have to go through all that shit. He walked me back through a side entrance, basically, that I didn't have to go back through the Macau side, and he just did the paperwork right there for me. And then I went through the Chinese side, but in order to come back through the Chinese side, guess what? I had to go through all that shit again. So anybody coming to Macau from China, you got to sit in a fucking hospital for 8 hours and do some kind of physical check. They don't put that shit in the news. They say, oh yeah, Macau's opened its borders, blah, 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 but they don't tell you what you got to go through if you want to get in there. So it's kind of a pain in the ass going to Macau. It's not a 14-day quarantine, but it's still, you know, an 8-hour pain in the ass a bus ride to a doctor's office, clinic, whatever, where you got to probably stand in line outside and get marched through to do, like, you know, a 2-hour physical. I don't really know what they did, but I got out of that shit. So I just wanted to give you an update about that. So here is, like I said, the train station. It's not very crowded, you know. This is a big hub for going to the southern parts of China, and you know, it's not that busy. So I'm on the way back to Shenzhen North, which was even less busier than this, so there's no reason to take a video of that. But I just had some time to kill, and I just figured I'd give an update while I could. But yeah, Macau, while it doesn't have a 14-day quarantine, it still is pretty. They're doing some crazy shit in regards to, like, you know, making people go through in health inspections. Now, there's not an airport in Macau, and I guess if you want to go to Macau, you have to take an airplane to Hong Kong and then take the ferry or the international bridge that they built into Macau. So I don't know how they're dealing with that. I don't know if you take a plane and you want to go gamble or party in Macau. If you land in Hong Kong, if you come into Macau, that bridge was closed last I heard, and I don't know if the ferries are operating now. I asked one of my friends who lived in Zhuhai, and she said she doesn't know, and I haven't really checked. But I think most of the people going into Macau are from Hong Kong or from mainland, and they got to go through that 8-hour fucking body check. So just in case you want to go to Macau, you know, you're going to have to sit there and do a body check for 8 hours. All right, so that's what's going on here. As you can see, not that busy at the moment. Everybody's just waiting to get on the train. So I don't know. That's that. Okay, any questions or comments, post them. Peace.